The views expressed on this show do not reflect arch rival, Adidas, or any other companies associated with them. With that being said, enjoy.
Hey DJ, play that fire.
It's time to connect the times. Church! If you looking at my feet, you see these climber cool Adidas. If you ain't caught the Scots with the wings, you a sleeper. Top 10s on me when I'm hooping, I'm a leaper. So the camera's catching nothing but the bottom of my sneaker. It's my shout out to them 3 stripes. Catch me in the garden, I be ballin' in my 3 stripes. My shout out to my 3 stripes. Catch me in the Mecca, catch me in the Mecca. No! 3 stripes! 3 stripes! 3 stripes! 3 stripes!
All right, welcome to episode 15. Dope intro by the boy Shump. That track is fire, hands down, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for being the great MC that he is, but Shump is the man. And yeah, dude, episode 15 is now upon us. It's all about basketball, which I'm obviously hyped about, as you can hear in my voice and my tone. I know you are in the dirty South right now. So how's everything going with you? You made it down to Atlanta safely?
Everything's good, man. You know, I got on that early flight, man, at 6 a.m. Into ATL Hartsville. I got here at about 8 o'clock, so I'm in the hotel room, man. Adidas regional sales meeting for the Southeast, man.
Super dope. We had our regional sales meeting last episode. I think we were recapping it, but yeah, no, super dope that you're down there in the ATL. We don't have our guy Jeff T down there anymore, but we'll definitely spotlight some Adidas guys. And we'll even do like a little fantasy draft later on in the episode where me and you can pick like our own starting 5. It was a cool concept that you came up with. So shout out to you for that one. We'll definitely do that. But start things off, man, we always want to try to jump into it as quickly as possible. And without further ado, I think this is probably one of the best ways to start off a basketball episode. We're going to drop our logo, or actually we've already dropped our logo, on IG. And our logo was done by this amazing designer who works for Adidas, and his name is Patrick Allgood. So let's jump into his interview right now.
As we proceed to give you what you need.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we want to welcome to the show one of my favorite guests now, because he's put up with all my and he's been working with me through and through. So it's all good, just like his last name. This is Patrick Allgood, designer for Adidas. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on.
No doubt, man. So first question for you. Let everybody at home know what you do currently. Do they know what your job title is and where you're working out of?
Currently, I work in Indianapolis, Indiana. I work for Speed Lab. So I'm a graphic designer. So I illustrate or lay out text, whatever calls for T-shirts normally, sometimes hoodies, that type of thing. But just doing design right now in Indiana.
Very cool. We're super jealous, clearly. But, definitely go ahead and let people know your journey to Adidas, maybe a little bit backstory on, your education, where you're from, those type of things.
Yeah, I'm originally from Indiana, just an hour south of where I live now, so haven't traveled very far. But I went to college, got my associate's degree for design, and then just sort of worked in a different design department for about 5 years. Then I got hired on at Adidas about 1.5 years ago as a production designer, and then about 3 months ago transitioned into a creative designer on Speed Lab.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool journey. I mean, I was always like a very artistic person myself, but as I got older, I tried to become like an architect because I thought that's where the money would be at. So all my feeling skills are like terrible now. Like all I can do is draw straight lines, which sucks. But
I can't do enough math to be an architect.
Obviously, I couldn't either because I'm in this boat nowadays. But that's awesome. And I mean, you're creating a lot of stuff that we're just getting the opportunity now to see.
I got to work on a lot of finished gear through the production side that's coming out now for this year, so that's pretty cool. Even some for the Reebok side as far as like NHL clothing that I got to do. So it's pretty cool experience doing that production art and sort of seeing that now.
And I know one amazing thing that you can add to your portfolio is that you are the official creator of the new Strike Talk logo. So we appreciate that, man. Talk to us about how difficult it was to work with somebody like myself who my girlfriend can attest. I literally have a new idea almost every single day. So definitely we appreciate you working with us.
I mean, really, once me and you sort of talked through the ideas, it was kind of straightforward. We went through several rounds, though. I feel like we had several solid ideas. Realistically, we could have went in several directions, and they all would have looked good. I'm real happy with the one we settled on. Your feedback was always helpful. You know, I think we took it in the right direction from where it was. It's pretty simple, which I like. You know, that comes in handy when it comes to design features and stuff. You know, you can shrink it down real small and make it work. So I'm a fan of it design-wise.
So obviously we're going to talk about basketball this episode. Basketball is something all three of us have in common, that we definitely love the game. And this year, Adidas really is pushing the moment of change with James Harden shoe that came out. Obviously the crazy explosive, the crazy light, the Damian Lillards, like everything that we're coming out with basketball-wise has been killing it. So go ahead and give us your feedback on what you think about the new Adidas basketball wave that's going on right now, that moment of change.
Now, I was actually just looking at the Lillard 3 pictures today. I saw Soul Collector had posted them, and those are so dope to me. I can't hoop in something that low just because I'm a bigger dude, and I shattered my ankle a couple years ago skateboarding. But casual-wise, the Lillard is so dope, and so is the Harden to me. I actually just picked up a pair of crazy explosives to play in this year. I got the black and white joints, the one Robin Lopez has been playing in. Yeah, those are dope.
Those are legit. Me and Jonathan, like, those are legit our top 3. Actually, that's our number 1 favorite shoe right now. It's that crazy explosive, just because it's like Jonathan coined the phrase when he first put it on. It's like a high top ultra boost.
Right. I want so many pairs just because I feel like that's one of the recent basketball shoes you could rock casually. That's high top. I would love to have a Porzingis colorway. Those are dope. All of the colorways I've seen for his player editions are so dope to me.
All right, so you know we got to ask you, my friend, top 3 Adidas basketball shoes. What you got for us?
Ooh, I knew you were going to ask me this. Basketball shoes. Number 3 then will go the T-Mac 4. Do you guys remember that? You could pull down the back flap and adjust it with a little roll wheel in the back.
Definitely remember those.
Those were so fire to me when I was younger. They were hard to play in just because I felt like the balance was off for me. But as far as just aesthetics, you're going to kill it when you're on the court looking. Those were dope. The 3 was cool. I don't know if you guys remember the specific All-Star game he played in. He wore 1 blue one and 1 red one.
Oh, yep. With the line.
The all-patent leather. Those were killer to me. And then number 1 right now, I've got to go crazy explosive just because it's so comfortable.
My brother will be happy that you mentioned T-Mac. He's like, you guys have an Adidas podcast. You don't mention T-Mac enough, but growing up.
Low-key, T-Mac's line is the most slept-on line of all time.
Yo, I want them to retro it so bad, but I don't know, like, logistically, you know, if they
I know they did the 3 last year for the Year of the GOAT. I don't know if I think it was last year. They did that one, and it ended up going on sale. Then they did the 3 for All-Star Game, right? The all-white pair. They did one?
Yes.
Like glow-in-the-dark. But that's the only one they seem to retro. Oh, they did the 1 a couple years ago. I lied. They did the 1 a couple years ago.
Why they dropped it with the fur on it. I felt like if it didn't have the fur on it, it would have sold out.
Right. Well, the rest of that pack was dope, too. So, I mean, it had some stiff competition in general with that All-Star pack, the all-whites. Those were all cool.
But, yeah, growing up, I was a huge Kobe guy, and my brother was a T-Mac guy. So, till this day, he still has the argument that if T-Mac would have never hurt his back, he would have been better than Kobe. I'm like, T-Mac was great. Wrong. He was great, but I don't know.
T-Mac was so dope when he was on, though. What did he do to the Spurs? Something like 13 and...
Like 13, no, it was like, what was it? I think it was a minute, 13 points in 40 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. He just killed him. I remember that. Cool. T-Mac was one of my favorites.
Definitely. I'm a big T-Mac guy, man. Obviously, you know, Vince Carter's cousin out there in Toronto and then to the Magic. So we love T-Macs out there, especially from the Adidas perspective. I remember the black and blue shoe. Like, that was something that I had when I was
Yep.
growing up. So definitely one of those iconic silhouettes from Adidas. But we always typically ask our guests who is an influencer or an athlete that they would like to meet most with Adidas. But for you, and this being a basketball episode, who is someone sponsored by Adidas, athlete-wise, from basketball that you want to meet the most that you haven't met yet?
Gotta be Derrick Rose. Gotta be. Gotta be. I'm a huge Chicago fan, so has to be Derrick Rose. My wife would kill me if I didn't say Noah. So if I couldn't get D Rose, Noah would be a good second choice.
Nah, super dope. Joe Kim, I mean, what more can you say? I feel like he was born to play in New York, so I've been tuning in to most of the Knicks games just to see his energy, and I love seeing healthy Derrick Rose. Like, there's no better feeling than when that kid is just.
Did you see what he did to Conley a couple nights ago?
That might
Oh,
be
yeah.
cover art. We might have to make that the cover art this week.
Bruh, murdered his ankles. I felt so bad for Conley. Got that huge contract and then gets embarrassed like that.
Oh man, yeah, Mike Conley, if you're listening to this, you should have stayed with 3 stripes, man. But that's what happens. What happens when you leave, bro?
They got to pay me that much money if they want me to get my ankles broken that bad. Man, that was rough.
That's awesome, my guy. Let's see, what else can we tap into while we got you on the phone? So I'm thinking, and we just got word. So it was 13 points in 35 seconds for T-Mac, for all you people that were keeping count.
That's what it was.
Probably didn't know what we were talking about, but it was 13 points in 35 seconds for T-Mac. I just think, so 2 things. I think the D Lillards, like you said, obviously when I first saw the pictures, I was kind of confused because I was like, his line performed so well last year with the D Lillard 2s that I thought
that was a dope shoe.
It was a dope shoe. It was so dope that I thought the 3s were just going to be, a little bit better, or maybe it had a boost feature to it. But I know.
Are you talking about the leaked images of the 3
Yeah,
here, or are you talking the official ones?
Oh, the leaked images. Yeah, the leaked images.
Yeah, the leaked images. I wasn't sold on.
Right, but now, as we're talking about it, and as, Jonathan, he keeps saying in this episode, is this whole new wave of basketball, I feel like on foot, those probably look a lot better. And the Hardens, man, I cannot wait to put my foot in those because I just think Harden's always been a big fan of, low-top shoes. And I know with the Crazy Lights, they definitely, kind of made them tailored to what Harden likes, so I could see the shoe fitting and performing a lot like the Crazy Light. But the thing I love is that asymmetrical lacing system. I think not a lot of basketball shoes use it, and I think if you use that correctly, that's a game changer because that's the one thing when you're playing basketball, you don't want to adjust your shoe. You just want to play.
Right.
And it's if you can get that thing down packed and it's got boosts in it, I feel like that's going to be killer.
Plus, it looks dope on court. Harden's been killing in that shoe. It just looks so fresh on court. You know what I mean? I saw it with the black jerseys. He rocked a red and white pair, and it was so fresh.
Ooh, I tried to tell Jonathan, man, he's my pick for MVP. Him or Lillard. I mean, Russell Westbrook's going to be up there too for sure, but him or Lillard is my early pick for MVP. As soon as they moved him to point guard, I was like, his stats are about to be
If
crazy.
Westbrook didn't need to take 100 shots to score 50 points, he would be MVP.
True, man. I'm a Kobe fan. I gotta take that.
His percentage is low enough to make him flunk out of a class. That is terrible. But he's been killing. No disrespect to Russell. He's a beast.
What I like about Harden this year, and Ray put me on it, is, opening night, he had 17 assists. That was insane. And obviously unveiling his shoe and wearing his shoe for the first time in a game was insane. But I'm a strong believer in Harden. I'm a strong believer in the moment of change for Adidas basketball. So what do you see in the future for Adidas basketball as far as, next season and, just continuing to evolve, or, what do you want to see rather in the future for Adidas?
I don't know. I feel like we've seen so much change in the past couple of years. It's insane. To me, Derrick Rose has his best shoe out now. The 7 was dope. Probably my favorite D Rose of all time. Too bad it won't be too many Chicago colorways of that. Man, I don't know. The Hardens are so dope. I don't even know what to expect. They're changing the game, really.
I think in every sport there's going to be a new wave, especially figuring out how to properly use boost in it. I'm still I don't know if I should trademark this or nothing, but I think they should put boost in football helmets. I think that would be amazing. You know what I mean?
If they could figure that out, that would be crazy.
That would be a game changer. But nah, man, before we get you out of here, let everybody know where they can find you at on social media.
Social media, my Instagram is Allgood23, just how it sounds. 2 L's, 2 O's. That's really the only social media I keep up with.
For sure, man. And you guys, make sure you check out like his renderings too, because I slept on him at first. I knew you were a graphic design guy, but when you dropped those MMDs in both the camo and then you also did that the staple joint, the collab.
Oh yeah. That camo colorway is fire, but I have to give credit where it's due. Shoe Gallery in Miami did that colorway on a Reebok Classic, and it's one of my favorite shoes of all time. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Shoe Gallery in Miami's so dope, and that colorway is fresh. I just wanted to see it on an NMD, so.
Again, shout out to you, Patrick. We couldn't have gotten to this point without you, man. The logo is fire. Follow him on IG. His renderings are fire. And yeah, man, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Pat, man. We appreciate it.
All right, sounds good, man. Take it easy.
Well, man, this episode, man, I really want to take it to another level. Obviously, both of us love basketball. We played in college, so we're really competitive. But I want to give you a challenge, man. I mean, obviously, we have the signature athletes for Adidas. We have James Harden, Damian Lillard, and Derrick Rose. So, obviously, those are like kind of cheating when you have them in the squad because they're definitely going to drop 40 or 50 on you each game. So, I want to kind of do a fantasy draft with you, man. So each of us get to pick our starting 5, man. Adidas Store athletes only, excluding those top 3 players. So let's go ahead and pick, man. See who you got, man.
Oh, okay. So since you came up with the idea, I'm gonna be the nice guy. I'll let you go first. We're just picking our starting 5, right? We're not picking a whole team because if I gotta pick a whole team, I got some guys on there that I need some rough riders too. But if we're picking the starting 5, I'm going with the best guys that are going to win the game in the clutch.
Yeah, man. Small ball, big ball, whatever you want to do. Old school, doesn't matter, man. So I'm all good. So I will go first, man, and I'll make sure that I mention who that current player plays for, and then maybe I'll throw in some little extras on what shoe they're actually wearing. So, definitely a little look for the people that are out in that market. Help to sell to those, players that come into your stores, and that way you have a player that's relatable to your area. So my number 1 pick, I'm going with Canada's own and Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He is rocking the Crazy Explosives, and actually Andrew has an AW on his line of Crazy Explosives and his colorway for his Timberwolves. So he was actually that one player that we selected this year to rock their initials on their shoes. Obviously, it's not a signature shoe, but I think next year, like you said, man, he's definitely going to be able to, get a signature shoe, we feel like, with Adidas. So that's my number 1 pick, man. Who you got first?
Oh, you kind of cheated there, man. Andrew, all right, I give you that. Well, I'm going to go with a brand new guy to the company, somebody that I think we have a lot of crazy things in the future planned for, and it's only right that he wears the Crazy Explosive, which is our favorite shoe, and that guy is Kristaps Porzingis of the New York Knicks. He's going to be my number 1 overall pick to start my lineup, and then I get to go back-to-back, right? We're doing it like fantasy draft?
Yeah, you're good, man. Right. Go ahead, go back-to-back.
Cool. So I'm going to go super big on this one, but I'm also going versatility. So I got Porzingis, big 7'3" guy, can play any position from a tall stretch 3, stretch 4 to even a stretch 5. And now I'm gonna double time you, and I'm gonna hit you with Joel Embiid from the Sixers. Yes, he's been injured the first couple of years. He's healthy now, and as you see, there's something about him, man. You watch him, a lot of people compare him to Hakeem Olajuwon, a young Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm not going to go that far yet, but there's definitely a superstar quality in him. Plus, I think he would be an amazing follow on Twitter. I would keep up with him all throughout the day. And he actually wears, which is which is insane to me because I feel like he should be wearing a Boost product, but obviously this works for him better. The Dual Threat, which at RDSG, that's one of those shoes in that $70 price range that really does sell well, especially to like the younger basketball players or the starters, the kids that are just starting to play basketball, but obviously love the brand and have a lot of Adidas stuff. So I sell a lot of those along with obviously the Boost products that we carry. But I'm going to go Joel Embiid, Kristaps Porzingis. Joel Embiid is playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, by the way. So I'm going big, man. I got 7-1 with a jumper, and then I got 7-3 with a jumper. What you doing? What's your backup planned out?
I'm not even worried, man. I don't know why you got me like, oh, I'm supposed to be a little scared, man. I got Andrew Wiggins.
I mean, Wiggins ain't coming to the hole on those two. He ain't coming to the hole on those two.
Hey, he's like that pterodactyl, man. So I'm going Andrew Wiggins on my first pick, obviously. But number 2, man, I'm going to go with a former Duke star in Justice Winslow. I feel like Justice Winslow has those, really versatile skills that he has and, able to get to the bucket, able to defend. So I'm going with Justice Winslow with my number 2 pick, man.
Okay. And then you get back to back. So now that was your second pick. So now who's your third pick?
All right, man. I feel like I got to get a point guard, man. And, that's a tough position. You want to, get a point guard, obviously, to be able to facilitate, but at the same time, score if they have to. But, this time I'm going with a sleeper pick. I'm going with Dante Exum from Australia. He plays for the Utah Jazz. He sat out all year last year with an injury. But this year, he's tearing it up. I feel like he's that hidden gem out there in that draft. A lot of people didn't hear about him because obviously he got hurt last year. But I feel like he's definitely going to drag this year. So I'm going with Dante Exum of the Utah Jazz.
Yo, all right, you making this easy for my team about to destroy you because I got to go with a point guard now. And like I said, to win games, you got to go hard-nosed. So I'm going Kyle Lowry all day. Philly product. I was born in Philadelphia, so shout out to Philly. Philly product, straight out of Nova, which obviously is not an Adidas school, but, they're national champs, so we'll give them the recognition that they deserve. And Kyle usually balls in the crazy lights. He played on Team USA this summer, won an Olympic gold medal. He's that junkyard bulldog, that guy that he's only maybe 6 feet, but he's going to still get 6 or 7 rebounds. He's going to always get the 50-50 ball. He's going to knock down perimeter shots, and he's going to play tough, hard-nosed defense on Exum. So I'm going to go Kyle Lowry. And then and by the way, Kyle plays on the Toronto Raptors, if I didn't mention that. And then I'm going to go – so I got 2 bigs. I got a point guard, so now I gotta fill out the rest of the perimeter. With this next pick, and I think you were sleeping because they're not on the Wikipedia list yet. But I'm going to go with a rookie. I'm going to go with Brandon Ingram. I'm going to go Brandon because we're both Laker fans. We see the potential in this kid. I'm trying to have a super-duper tall, versatile lineup, so to have a 6'10", pretty much small forward / 2 guard that has like that 7'3" wingspan, I think I'm going to give your team a lot of trouble. So I went short with Kyle, but he's a bulldog. I'm not really, caring about his height. But I'm going 2 guys that are going to both be wearing the crazy lights in Kyle Lowry and Brandon Ingram, and obviously Ingram plays for the Lakers.
Hey, I'm not even hating, man. I mean, obviously we're Laker fans, but it's really funny. We're both Laker fans, but yeah, I love Duke and you love North Carolina. So it's kind of really weird with it, but you did pick a Duke guy, so I'm going to let you slide with that. So,
goodness.
Game recognizes game, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to let you have Ingram. I got Justice, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not even mad about that, man. So with my number 4 pick, I am going with Marcus Smart of the Boston Celtics. Obviously at Oklahoma State, he was one of those guys that's going to be able to drop 40 any given night, and I feel like that potential hasn't even been met in the NBA so far, man. So I'm going with a Boston guy and Marcus Smart.
All right, and then you get your last pick. So you got
cool, man.
You get to start the 5th round, last pick, and then I got to finish the draft.
It's all good, man. I'm going with consistency here. So, not going to give you a whole bunch of points night in and night out, but you know how I am, man. If you give me a double-double, you can start for me. So he's guaranteed to give me 10 and 10, man. I am going with Brook Lopez of the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, man, obviously he's rocking that crazy explosive. He's a big man. So he's going to give me that 10 and 10, man, and obviously hold down the middle for me, man.
I mean, Brook Lopez, people sleep on him, but that boy can score. You know, he may not rebound the best, but he can score, and I love having him on the Adidas family. And they got a weird dynamic in Brooklyn where it's like I've been seeing all the marketing, obviously, living in New Jersey, and they hold up like a Brook Lopez face, and then they hold up a Jeremy Lin face, and it's like Brooklyn.
I like it.
Both of those guys are Adidas guys, so we might have to get you a Brooklyn T-shirt with our two Adidas guys. So I'm stuck right now because there's so many great players that we have, and I really want to fill out my roster with some defense. So I could go like a Damari Carroll. I could go a Tony Allen, but both of those guys are a little bit older. So I'm going to go with the younger version, a defensive guy. I got to go Avery Bradley right here, man. He had 31 the other day. He's one of those underrated two guards. He plays in the backcourt with Marcus Smart and Isaiah Thomas in Boston. And he's a guy who he could either drop 31 and hit some outside shots, or he could score 2 and just lock your best player up. So I think for my starting 5 doing this fantasy draft, I got Kyle Lowry at the 1, Avery Bradley at the 2, Brandon Ingram at the 3. We'll go Porzingis at the 4 and Joel Embiid at the 5. I mean, you get buckets and defense with that lineup.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. You know, we'll make sure we play it out on the court, man. But that would be an awesome game to watch. Obviously, some crazy Adidas heat out there on the court. So that's all we're worried about, man, for sure.
Exactly right. All we worry about is that heat that's on the floor and our guys playing great, wearing those great products. And I know for me personally, even before I started working with the brand, there was a guy who I always went to for product knowledge when it came to footwear, and that guy is our guy, Chris Chase, a.k.a. Nightwing2303, and you'll find out why his name is Nightwing2303 in this interview. But our guy, Nightwing, great product knowledge as far as sneakers go. He's been doing it for a while now. He has a huge following. Definitely check out weartesters.com if you haven't, and check him out on YouTube with all his sneaker reviews. So we were able to get his review on the James Harden last episode, but we definitely want to go ahead and get him on here for an interview. So without further ado, our guy, Nightwing.
So we're very, very fortunate to have Nightwing on the show, a.k.a. Chris. He's obviously one of the people that we look up to and respect as far as knowing the shoe industry. He specializes in knowing basketball. That's kind of his thing. But obviously he got an opportunity to go down to Texas recently in Houston to check out the James Harden before they released. Got an opportunity to play basketball in them. So we wanted to bring him on this week's episode since it was all about the moment of change for Adidas as far as basketball is concerned. So, Chris, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Chris, like Jonathan was saying, you got to go to Houston. So talk a little bit about not only that experience, but also, you know, how you like the Harden shoe overall.
The trip itself was really awesome. Adidas went all out. I really enjoyed their new approach to things. They did this last time at the Level 3 event in Vegas, where there's kind of like a first-run media session. So, like, we'll go into that, and it's kind of like a private thing. And then afterwards, they have this just big, basically a party for all the kids in the area. And it'll have, like, free music and food and drinks and all that stuff. It's really dope. So this particular one for the Harden event, there was, I think, Travis Scott and Young Thug or something like that. I'm not into, like, these new rappers, but, you know, they were there. It was cool. All the kids enjoyed it. They had a whole preview of the first 4 colorways of the Harden Volume 1, along with the apparel line that's going to be coming out this fall as well. Yeah, no, it was a really cool event.
Cool. So for those that don't know, give us a little bit of backstory on what you do currently, you know, why you're so fascinated with shoes, and just give people an idea of what you do.
Well, basically, I own and operate weartesters.com. It's one of the larger, I think it might be the only one, but the performance-based sneaker site. So we do like the typical sneaker news stuff, but what we're known for is our performance reviews on basketball footwear. I started on YouTube back in like 2009, brought performance reviews to that platform first, and then it's kind of evolved into the website after that. So now I do both. And the reason why I did it is because at the time there were no performance reviews. Professor K was MIA because he was working for Nike, and I needed some new basketball shoes. And I didn't feel like wasting my money, and it just kind of like rolled into what it is now from there. So it's pretty weird and organic. And then the fascination with shoes started when I started playing basketball. I didn't notice shoes at that time. I was real young, and then I was getting made fun of for wearing Payless shoes, and I didn't quite understand what a Nike or anything was, like an Adidas or any of that stuff. And so that's when I started noticing sneakers, and I could never afford the nice ones, and so I would just be always interested in the tech, and you know what I mean? 'Cause they make it sound like so cool, like when they're presenting the shoe, and it's like so much more different than like the cheap knockoff stuff that you would get at like the discount stores. So, but that's where it all started. I don't even know how the heck I ended up doing what I do. It's so weird that you're into something that you just like, and then it just like, I don't know what happened, man. It's been a blur. It's been crazy.
No, it definitely evolves, man. So talk a little bit about, obviously, like you were saying, you weren't naturally a big sneakerhead. You just kind of like fell into it because kind of like you were being made fun of a little bit, so you wanted to be, wanted to be part of the cool gang. But talk a little bit about like where the name Nightwing came from, because it seems to me like you're a big comic guy, and with Halloween passing, talk a little bit about like where you grew up from, and then how you even got the nickname Nightwing.
For the whole Nightwing thing, it was an accident. So like when YouTube first started, like back in the day when there was AOL, right, for the internet, and then you had your AIM instant messenger thing, and so like your your sign-in name would be like, I like Teddy Bear 03 or some shit, right? And so so that's all that the whole Nightwing2303 thing was, because at the time YouTube had just launched, and I wanted to hit the like button on the videos that I enjoyed. And you couldn't do that unless you had an actual account.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I was just like, okay, I just need to make an account real quick. I'll just use my email, nightwing2303@gmail.com, whatever, right? And so it was never a thing that in my head that I was going to ever become a content creator on the platform. That's how that whole thing started. The reason why I used Nightwing is because like back in the day when you do your AOL thing, whatever your interests are, you throw that in your username. And I'm a huge comic book nerd. Nightwing is my favorite character, and so that's where that came from. And then 23 is for MJ, and then 03, Allen Iverson, and that was also my jersey number in school. So that's where all that stuff happened. And then 2009, I uploaded a video for some reason. The whole thing kind of stuck, stuck with me. So it was just weird. Had I actually created an account with the intent of making like content at the time, I probably would have picked a cooler name.
I like it. I like Nightwing.
It's unique, like everybody now is like Fresh Kicks or something, like something that's got to do with what they're actually doing. And then there's like the awkward me over there, Nightwing the nerd. So, but it's all good.
It's all good, and it balances out for sure. So I'm gonna sneak a Halloween question in here then. So number one, are you going to go out for Halloween? And then number two, if you are, what's going to be the costume? Is it going to be a superhero costume or something like that?
Well, out of all the holidays, Halloween was always my favorite ever since I was a kid, because you could be whoever you actually wanted to be that day. You know what I mean? Like how awesome would it really be Batman? You know what I mean? Like, who wouldn't want to be Batman? So that's like the one day where you can get away with like dressing up like a dork and being Batman, And so so I ever since being a kid would always go and join in on Halloween. Now that I have kids, it's just an excuse to go, and you know what I mean. So now I don't get like made fun of, and I always will dress up. This year I actually wasn't prepared, so I'm just going to end up wearing my Nightwing hoodie that looks like the costume and just kind of cheat like that. But normally I'll go with something. I think last year I was Batman. The year before that I was the Riddler. The year before that I was the Joker. So you know what I mean. Like I do like Halloween a lot. So
that's what's up, man. I like it. I dig it. So obviously this year Adidas really wanted to make a great approach with basketball, like the moment of change. And obviously since the NBA season has started, people are really starting to notice that there's a lot of players that are sponsored by Adidas, rocking the crazy lights, rocking the crazy explosive. So give us an idea of what you see from Adidas from the side of product that you love the most about what they're doing in this new era.
Well, Boost right now. Boost is everything. Hashtag Boost is life. So, you know, when they introduced that to the running platform with I think it was the original Energy Boost, I remember trying that for the first time and just being blown away by how comfortable that stuff was. It reminded me of like how like Nikes used to feel back in the day. And Adidas has always used pretty basic technology as far as cushioning. And when they introduced this stuff, man, it was just a game changer. Like there's nothing else like it, like on the market. I don't care what brand it is. Like they might have some good stuff, which is great, but Boost beats all of it, in my opinion, at least. And if I were to have told my high school self that when they had like the crazy, what was it, the Crazy Eights?
Crazy Eights.
They were called the KB8s at that time. But like, you know, those shoes were really big and clunky, and you know, and so like if I would have told my high school self, yo, Adidas is going to be the top brand as far as tech is concerned in like 20 years, I would have laughed. But they're killing it right now. Like even their knits are better than other brands. Like the Prime Knit stuff is crazy. So, yeah, they put a lot of work into what they're doing. They deserve all the recognition that they're getting right now. I know that a lot of people are pointing it towards like Kanye's direction and all this stuff, but they've been strategically doing this for the past like 3 or 4 years now. As soon as expiring contracts come up, they've been buying them out, like Jeremy Lin. They just acquired what's his name?
Porzingis, big
guy. They're just grabbing everybody because like before, you know, Nike would just throw out like a minimum deal for if you're not a signature athlete, just so that like 90% of the league would be wearing a swoosh product. And now Adidas is finally like, yo, let's do the same thing. And it's working because they actually have a good product. And so it's great to see that stuff on court. And it makes kids realize, like, oh, you can, like before it was like the whole joke, oh, I'm going to get injured if I wear this, like with the Derrick Rose thing. And now it's like they're a legit performance shoe. Like there's no denying it. So I think that it's great. Their stuff, they have, in my opinion, like all of their shoes that they come out with since I think it was December of last year, starting with the Lillard 2, they haven't missed a mark yet. Like they're all killer shoes.
No, that's a great point. Actually, the Lillard 2 review that you did was one of my favorite reviews because not only did you like, obviously you always hit tech points and you always break down the shoe for a basketball player, so it's really, really simple for me to like know what I can expect when I put it on. But when you, at the end of it, I think you said that like if Nike or another brand put the same materials in these shoes, they would charge you $130, $140, $150 for it, whereas Adidas is giving you all this and it's like $110. You know what I mean? And that was before they even started putting Boost in the heel of the Lillards. So I appreciate every time you do a review, and I think that, like you said, ever since that mark, even when it comes to like lifestyle shoes, like, you know, tubulars and stuff, they haven't really missed on anything, and everybody's waiting for that moment to be like, aha, see, I told you Adidas couldn't last. And it's pretty cool to see that like it hasn't even come close to that moment yet, especially like working for the brand. So that's a really dope point. So we got to get you on here to say what's your top 3 Adidas shoes of all time. They don't have to necessarily be basketball, though. You know, this is a basketball episode, so we would love that if you did. But the top 3 Adidas shoes of all time for our guy Nightwing. What you got?
So it is going to be performance-based, since that's what I'm most into. So my number 1 spot will be the D-Rose 6 Prime Knit. It has to be the Prime Knit ones. Those ones are awesome. That might be my favorite shoe to hoop in of all time. And then the second one is the recent release, the Crazy Explosive Prime Knit. You can go with either one. Like, they're both great shoes, but I just really like their Prime Knit material. And then I'm going to throw it way back for the number 3 spot, even though I would put any of their new stuff from this year in this lineup. One of their shoes that I really got hyped on back in the day was the Addy Power Howard 2. That shoe, visually and on court, it looked awesome. It felt awesome. It played awesome. It was super comfortable. That was right before the whole boost thing too. So, you know, in my opinion, that's a really underrated shoe.
Cool, man. We love it. I mean, obviously, me and Ray are ex-college athletes. I mean, we still think we got it. You know, Ray plays in the league once a week, so he's dropping 50 every now and then. But what do you think about the Crazy Explosive? Because that's me and Ray's favorite basketball shoe right now that Adidas has. And compare that to the new Harden that's coming out. Obviously, those are two different shoes, but they're obviously those two shoes that people are either getting the Harden or the Crazy Explosive. So give us a breakdown of the Crazy Explosive and the Harden and compare and contrast the two.
Okay. Well, first, every year at the end of the year, I do a top picks list of the performance shoes. The Explosive is currently my number one pick, and it most likely will stay that way because I don't see any other shoe coming out that'll beat that one. But that shoe is amazing. It's got great fit. I don't even know how they got away with such a great fit with only 4 eyelets on the shoe, but they killed it. And then the Primeknit material for me is just awesome. Like I love how it fits. It will fit most foot shapes and things like that. So it's a really great feel on foot, and it moves with your foot really well. Traction is amazing, and of course it's got that Boost cushion. And like I said earlier, Boost is life. Like this stuff is the best cushion on the market right now. Now, as far as comparing that to something like the Harden, the Crazy Explosive, I like to call that shoe the Ultra Boost for basketball because it just feels so plush underfoot. You know what I mean? Like
that's so funny. I said the exact same thing to Ray. I was like, it's like a high top Ultra Boost. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like you put on a pair of Ultra Boosts and they feel really comfortable, but they also feel real stable. Like you don't feel like you're about to break your ankles in them or anything, right? I wouldn't go hoop in a pair, but they feel really good compared to like the lifestyle boost, like the Pure Boost, which feels a little too mushy, right? And so it just feels like that. I feel like they should have called it the Ultra Boost BB or something because like it's like a basketball version of that shoe. And then you got the Harden, which is like super low profile. Like these things are super low to the ground. The Boost is very thin, especially in the forefoot. So basically you are sacrificing that plush feel for court feel while still getting that impact protection that Boost offers. So that's a key difference. And then, visual differences would be like the collar height and things like that. But it doesn't, as long as the fit is secure, then it doesn't matter if it's a high or a low. And then the materials on the Harden, there's going to be multiple options. Like the initial pair is just kind of like a knit mesh, and it's got like some like a nylon behind it. So it's not like super flexible, even though it still will move with your foot. But then they're going to have some Primeknit options that'll be a little bit more expensive later on as well. So that's like the one that I'm anticipating because I do like the Harden so far, and I just really love Primeknit. So once those come out, I'll probably grab a pair of those.
Definitely, man. And, it all depends on what type of player you are. Like you always say in the review, you know what I mean? If you're a big player, you probably need that extra cushion. If you're, a James Harden type where you're penetrating and you're, on your toes a lot or you're Euro stepping people, then maybe less boost is probably better. So, definitely all depends.
Exactly.
But you're absolutely right.
On player preference for sure.
You're not only just like a mad scientist when it comes to these shoe reviews, you're also a big basketball fan. So we would be remorse not to get you on here to talk about your team, which is the Warriors, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
We got Patrick McCall on there as a rookie. He's an Adidas guy, and I'm sure there's somebody else on there that might be an Adidas guy now that I'm not even thinking of. But what's your thoughts on the squad? Obviously, you guys are probably the favorites to win it all. So give us your overall thoughts on what you think out of Golden State that you've seen so far, and then definitely we got to get your predictions for the playoffs, even though it's super duper early right now.
Yeah. Well, Harrison Barnes was our main Adidas guy, and he's over in Dallas now, which sucks.
True.
So I think his name was like the Black Falcon or something like that. Something weird.
Yep,
but,
Nightwing and the Black Falcon, man.
Right, like straight up comic book stuff right there. So, but yeah, so I was hoping to see him in some like Crazy Lights or something this year in some Warrior colorways, but he's over in Dallas now, so that won't happen. But yeah, so I am an old school Warrior fan, so I remember the days that the new generation doesn't. So I do not like to jinx anything. I go into every night as if we're losing. because I went 13 years of horrible basketball. You know what I mean? Like we were like us and the Clippers were the butt end of the jokes for basketball talk for like my entire childhood. So seeing, like, I remember when we had the We Believe team with B Diddy and everything, like that was like amazing to watch. I was like, whoa, we're actually winning games. Like that was crazy. Whoa, we're in the playoffs. We beat the Mavericks. Like what is going on? You know what I mean? Like I was like, what's happening here, man? And it was just like crazy to see this. And then now I still can't believe that we have a ring in my lifetime. Okay. And then on top of that, we beat the best regular season. I never, ever, last year people were asking me, yo, are they gonna beat the Bulls record? And I said, no, that's impossible. It's impossible to beat. Like only losing 10 games, like that's statistically improbable.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might happen like once every blue moon, and like how could 2 blue moons be in my lifetime? That's crazy. You know, like that's just weird to me. And so I couldn't believe that happened. Then I was devastated in the finals, man. That was 2 blue moons in the playoffs too. Witnessing 2 different teams back to back blow a 3-1 lead.
That is crazy.
I couldn't believe that. Yeah, because that's another statistical anomaly in sports. Like. Just the stats of it. It's like it just wasn't supposed to go down like that for either team. Like the Warriors weren't supposed to come back from 3-1, and we were not supposed to go like and blow a 3-1 lead. You know what I mean? Like it was just it was weird to watch both of those series because I could have sworn that Oklahoma City was going on to the finals. And then as far as predictions, man, I don't know, because I've been saying this since we got KD. Like, first off, it was, like, too good to be true. It was like, there's no way that a player of that caliber wants to come and play for the Warriors. Like, that's never happened. We've always had, Chris Webber left us, like those types of players never wanted to be here. And so I think it's crazy that we have somebody that's like that now. And then as far as like what's going to happen later on in the season, I mean, we just have to gel. Like I can't predict anything because this kind of stuff takes time. We have like a whole new team right now, like other than our big four, with Curry, Clay, Draymond, and a couple other guys like Livingston, stuff like that. Iggy. Like we don't really have the same team as we did the past 2 seasons, so we'll just have to see what happens. I know that they're people's favorites, but you can't count out Cleveland. Like they're the winning team from last year. They're the reigning champs. So that to me would be the logical choice to choose, even though I'm not a fan of them. But you can't count out the actual champs.
True. The one thing I've been noticing, and I think it was Jeff Van Gundy, who I love listening to whenever he's on the game, but I think it was him, and he was saying how like if you notice last year or even the year before that when Steph really started to take off, like their bench was so good that not only could their bench beat other NBA teams, especially if they got hot or if like one of the guys played really well, but also they were like super duper into it on the sidelines. Whereas like last night, I think they were playing the Pelicans, and we all know, the Pelicans aren't the best team in the world, but they got a superstar in Anthony Davis, so you never know. But yeah, I think it was KD or somebody made like an amazing play, and then they showed the bench, and it's like JaVale McGee like picking his nose, and like Zaza was like icing his knee. It was missing that like Golden State like enthusiastic like excitement, that joy, because you see it when they play on the court. Like guys are shooting threes and not looking, or throwing a no look pass to an alley-oop dunk, but it was just like that bench, people don't realize, like, that's what Cleveland has going for them right now. They all love playing with LeBron. They all got handshakes. They all jumping around every time Kyrie makes a dribble move. But it's like, exactly. I think that's that one part that, like you said, you can't really measure, and you have to gel before you get that, because you can't just go to Zaza and be like, hey, every time Steph hits a 3, we need you to celebrate. Like, that's just weird.
Man.
So
you can't fake chemistry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, either you guys are buddy-buddy or you're not. And we're a brand new team, whether we want to admit it or not.
Right.
And I know that the front staff there, even the coaching staff, Kurt admitted many times saying, this is a new team we're working with. Like, we got some work to do before we can expect anything. So As long as the whole team is on the same page like that, then I think that we'll be okay. It does suck seeing the bench just sit there and be duds because, you know, like, this is an NBA game. You're courtside, dude. Like, have some fun. You know what I mean? Like, come on,
nah, it'll get there. And like I said, yesterday's game was on the road, I believe. So it might just be one of those things where they're just getting used to each other, like you said. But me and Jonathan, man, we're we're both Laker fans, so we were spoiled growing up, and now we're feeling it. But at least with the addition of like Luke Walton and some of these young guys, they're starting to like get out of the whole Kobe era that me and Jonathan like love, and now we're starting this whole new Laker basketball era with all these young guys. And I just pray every night that Jim Buss doesn't mess this up and like stack up a bunch of young guys and try to get Melo in there or try to get like some superstar just to have a name. And so that's my job. I'm like, please, Lord, just let these guys, like, give them 2 years. You know, see what Ingram's like in 2 years.
They learned their lesson that 1 year when they had Shaq and Kobe and Peyton and Malone and Rodman. You remember that? Like,
no, I do. And then I thought they learned their lesson. No, you're absolutely right. Like, Chris, you're absolutely right. But then they turned around and did the same thing with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash. So I was like,
well, that was a different situation, though. You're putting in one of the more elite known centers, and then even though he's not as good as he used to be, but you know, he was supposed to be that Shaq or replace Powell.
True.
And then Steve Nash is one of the greatest point guards that we've had in this generation. So to have those two on the team, you would think it would have worked with a Kobe, but you know, like I said, you can't fake chemistry, man. Like, if people just are not feeling each other, then they're just not feeling each other.
Definitely, man. I'm all about Ingram right now. I feel like Ingram's the future. Ray's been trying to sell me on D'Angelo Russell, so I'm trying to give him a chance at point guard. But I'm still hot about the Chris Paul deal. Like, I'm still hot on that. But that's another day. You know, another topic for another day. But we appreciate you getting on the line. So there's two things before you get you off the line. One, I want you to go ahead and drop that social media handle so people can follow you. And two, can we get a wings up or a wings down for the new James Harden Volume 1?
So far for the Harden, it would be a wings up. That shoe was super fun to play in. So if you just like, you know, comfortable sneakers that fit well and move well with you, then I would go for it. Price point you can't beat either, man. They're under $150 for a signature shoe with the best tech. Like, what are you gonna tell me where else you're gonna get that? I dare you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me no other brand's going to offer that. So that's that. And then as far as social handles, you can follow me. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Nightwing2303. And you can also follow the website Wear Testers at Wear Testers on both handles as well.
All right, man. We appreciate it once again. It's definitely an honor to have you on the show. You're out there killing it. Everybody from our team was like, man, you had T. Blake, and now you got Nightwing. Like, they were hyped on it. So, definitely, you got a fan base out there that loves you, man, loves your work. So we appreciate you jumping on, and keep killing it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
I feel like he's definitely going to steal that wings up and wings down, man. But I ain't mad at him, man. I think it was kind of fly.
It's definitely kind of fly. Well, wings up, wings down this week as far as words of wisdom. So, I mean, that's a quote in itself, wings up or wings down. But I guess you got a little bit better words of wisdom than that. So go ahead. What you got for us this week?
Man, my words of wisdom is just going to be a quick statement, man. Obviously, November 8th is getting ready to happen. It's upon us. It's our day to vote our presidential candidates into office. So I'm just going to say exercise your right to vote is my words of wisdom for this week. So please go out and vote, man. Make a difference. You can't talk trash unless you go out there and vote, man. So go out there and make a difference, man.
Definitely can't talk if you're not going to participate, for sure. And, you know, since the basketball episode, I'm going to go with a quote that I used to use in basketball all the time, which is, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So don't be shy out there, man. Do your research, figure out what you want to do, figure out what your passions are, go after them, and literally take your shots. You got to put yourself out there. You can't be afraid to fail. And that's going to be my words of wisdom for this week. So that caps off episode 15, my guy. I know next week is going to get wavy. So that we could definitely throw that little plug in there. It's definitely going to get wavy next week. But as the weather gets colder up here and as the heat drops a little bit down there in the dirty South for you, I like where everything's going. November is upon us, my guy.
Hey, man, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for whatever, you know. So I'm good to go on that. So without further ado, man, Stripe Talk, we are out.